What up, y'all? So, I was requested from a lot of my friends and a lot of new people who I met through this whole process that I've been doing to kind of do an origin story of like pretty much just me, and that's the only reason why I'm calling it origin. Like as of now, probably just gonna be doing stuff, everyday regular stuff with these videos. Some glimpses of what I'm doing with my book and stuff. Um, Pretty much done with that government stuff for real, for real. Put my opinion out there, and whoever, But um, so here's the origin story. I'm gonna try to keep it short, but it's a lot. It truthfully is. So I'm originally from Mobile, Alabama. Born and raised, but I had to move up here because of some issues, economic issues. So my father decided to come back towards his home state from Cleveland. Shout out to Cleveland. LeBron James, Kyrie, all y'all. And pretty much came up here, started working. Then he found a place close to his job, contacted my mom. And at that time, it was me, my mom, and my brother living at my grandmother's house, which pretty much that entire neighborhood down there was just all family down in that street. So we moved up here to Columbus. I was probably like 4 or 5 at the time. So, back and forth between now I'm 19. So from the time I was 5 all the way up to now, which I'll probably continuously keep doing, we've been back and forth, visiting family. Then we also visit the family in Cleveland on my dad's side. So, we've been doing that back and forth. Now, some of you may not know this about me. Is my mom's a Baptist and my father is a Jehovah's Witness. And I know a lot of people probably like, ooh, that don't mix. I'm like, it don't have to mix, but it's just they both know what they have to do. They both know what their, what their purpose is with that. So they never clash about it at all. And they're probably like some of the most spiritually aligned people when it comes to something like that, having two different views in terms of some stuff. Because I know with Jehovah's Witnesses, with them, and I'm not trying to, mean it and just, just them. But, pretty much from what I know and what I've, well, hold on. From what I know and what I've been through in terms of going to that church, they don't believe that God and Jesus are the same people or the same person. And the Bible for the Jehovah's Witnesses, which is the New World Translation, for them, God has a name, and his name is Jehovah God, and then Jesus Christ. He died for our sins and stuff. And with Baptists, I think it was somewhere in like Timothy. They, I remember from my church that my mom goes to, that I go with her. It says that, I think that it says that they think that, Jesus is, God and everything. So, with me, everybody always asks me, which side you choose? For me, I mean, it's difficult to say because it's like, I don't want to offend my dad. I also don't want to offend my mom. But my mom, she knows, God and Jesus are, Jehovah and Jesus are two different people completely. Like they say, the Father and the Son. Like, for me, I kind of had to make this common sense, like, not common sense, but I had to kind of make it through logic and stuff. What really made me lead to, I know God and Jehovah is God and Jesus is the Son. So, for me, I had to think about it like, real world context, kind of. So, when Jesus was put upon the cross and stoned to death, how, if you're like, he's a human, and yes, he still was able to perform miracles through the power of God. So, my thing is this, like, this is just for me. This doesn't have to be for anybody else. This is just for me. So what I did, you know, I read through the Bible and stuff, and I'm still confused. So, you know, I had to ponder over it. I had to make it apply to myself. That way it felt more real, use my imagination. So for me, it was like, so Jesus was the only one who had experienced human life, like, you know, with pretty much being able to have human traits, as in sicknesses and stuff like that, you know, sin and everything. But he was the only human to live a perfect life by standard of, you know, just doing God's work, doing his will. Only person, you know, we're all not perfect. Everybody knows that. But he was the only one that lived the perfect life. So for me, what made me believe and know that, you know, they're two different people was when they killed Jesus by stoning him to death. How are you going to bring yourself back to life if you dead and you're human and you only perform miracles through your Father because, you know, you weren't in the spiritual realm. You know what I mean? And it's like people always tell me, oh, well, you know, God ain't do this, God ain't do that. I can't see God and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, there's a verse in the Bible that says God is light. Like, if you ever, okay, so you see how the light is, you see the shadows, everything. You light a match, you can't see the shadow of the match. And also another example that my dad used when we were having a Bible study one time was, you can see the effects of wind, but you can't see the wind itself. And it's through faith, and faith is things seen, things done, not things done, but faith is believing in something that isn't visibly there. And he used another example, and it was pretty funny. He was like, you don't have to ever worry about, use this, like, you know, if you're ever down and stuff like that, when you feel like, you know, of God, pretty much if you're not feeling well spiritually, think about it like this. You don't have to worry about waking up in the morning and having to go outside and someone stop you, say, hold on, there might not be any air out there because you can't see it. But when you wake up in the morning, what do? Take a breath. Air's always going to be there because, you know, but that's pretty much, you know, a little side story and stuff. But back along with the origin story. So we've been up here for a long time. I've been up here through the whole school system of kindergarten all the way in Columbus, all the way to high school. I graduated in 2015. So pretty much the only reason why I started this YouTube channel, originally it was just supposed to be for like relationship advice and stuff like that, because all throughout high school, well, not even through high school, all throughout middle school, all the way to high school, and even continuing to now, a lot of my friends have asked me about relationship advice, because for some reason people think that a lot of stuff is done just because people are willing to do it. But for me, it's because of how society is. Like, I know a lot of, pretty much, this is another example. How they would say a girl is unworthy if she has, you know, a lot of boyfriends. But then guys are given praise for having multiple girlfriends. And that's just how society, you know, people will be like, oh yeah, she nasty because she had a lot of boyfriends. Or dudes be like, oh yeah, he'll play a pimp if he, you know, got a lot of girlfriends and stuff. And if you think about it, if those roles were reversed, dudes, we would be mad as well if they'd be like, oh yeah, he nasty because he had a lot of girlfriends. So, and that, in retrospect, pretty much you have to give respect, because that can honestly destroy somebody's confidence if you just, oh yeah, she nasty because she had a lot of boyfriends. You just automatically assume that they did stuff, when in reality, they probably didn't. It probably was just like, oh yeah, it ain't work out, so I'm leaving you. And so with that being said, this is really the only reason why I've started doing this channel and stuff like that. I have a book that I am currently working on. I'm doing a certain part right now for my parents. Something, you know, a little special and stuff like that. Kind of, I was supposed to be done for their anniversary, but I had to work, so that didn't get done. But back to the origin story. So pretty much, this is the part for some of my friends that really didn't know. So, me and my friend Will, but the actual person that I'm actually talking about, her name will not be said at all. So if it slipped, it slipped. So, me and my friend Will Cherry, this is when I went to Centennial High School. I saw him hanging out with this one girl. And, you know, I was like, okay, I'm going to just push Will down the steps. Like, you know, just push him, but not actually push him down the steps. So I'll go over there, you know, nudge him a little bit. He laugh and stuff like that. Nudge her, you know, a little playful and stuff like that. So whenever I see her around school and stuff, you know, little nudge and stuff like that. So one day, my friend Will took it upon himself to tell the girl that I thought that she was cute. And I did, and I told him, but I told him not to tell her, but he did anyway. So me and her became friends, and then one day on Facebook, she posted something up saying that it was something dealing with her boyfriend and everything. So I hit her up, you know, with me, I'll probably be put at the label as a gentle giant, but sometimes if, you know, excessive force is needed, you know, I can do that as well. But I tend not to, because I don't feel like there's an extra need to do all that if things can be talked out first, or in an orderly manner, or, you know, spoken as adults, because who has time for that? It's a waste of energy. Second off, so I'm just kind-hearted, you know, simple. But I hit her up, tried to see if everything's okay. She was like, yeah, it's just, you know, dealing with some stuff with my boyfriend and stuff like that. So I'm just like, you know, I kind of been in this situation before, which my cousin Eric, he always tells me, no matter what situation I'm in with a girl, it's always because either one, her boyfriend isn't doing what they supposed to do, and they come to me. Really, bro? Huh? Oh, hold on real quick. What? Hey, bro, that's what happens when you don't have a setup. You gotta use your phone to put it against the wall. But, oh, that was my cousin I was telling y'all about. So, pretty much, he was just saying, it's about to shut up. So, pretty much, he was just saying that whenever he sees me talking to a girl or something like that, he always asks me what happened or how did we start talking. And it's always because broke up with a boyfriend, or boyfriend cheated on her or something like that. Something along those lines. So, me and that girl, we started talking and stuff. You know, I'm just, you know, trying to comfort her, be like, hey, you know, sometimes some stuff happens. I'm like, they've been in a relationship for a while. So I'm like, yeah, every once in a while in a relationship, you're gonna hit a rough patch. It's expected. So she's like, okay, cool. You my best friend now. Sent me like 2-3 hearts. And this is before like emojis was cool. It was like through Facebook or something. And she was like, I see you at school tomorrow. I'm like, cool. So I'm like completely forget about the conversation and stuff. I'm walking into school listening to my music and stuff. I see her at the lunch table crying by herself, and I see her boyfriend hooked up on this other chick. So I walk up to her, ask her what happened and stuff. She was like, oh yeah, he broke up with me. He, you know, going out with this other chick. So I'm like, forget him. I'm like, he's stupid because, you know, he left somebody that was good. Straight up. So from that day on, that was my sophomore year and that was her freshman year. We have been friends and became the best of friends. She knows me like the back of her hand. I know her like the back of my hand. Even still to this day. So probably throughout her entire high school career, they've been on and off. And it's just like for me, at that time, I didn't understand, you know, I don't know if they, you know, they still had something together, but it's just like with me, you messing with me one time just because, like, if you can't talk to me and say, oh yeah, I have a problem with this, we need to fix this, and if we can't fix it, it's gonna be over. Simple like that. Like, that's it. Like, just talk to me. You know, communication is key. That's how you know, that's how you get everything to stay afloat. You have to talk to each other. If you don't talk to each other, you get a stagnant relationship. Nothing flows. So she had to leave and went to another school for a while. Me and her still staying in touch every night on Ubu, every night on Snap. Everybody, every night on Snapchat, every night on Skype, whatever. Like, so she left school and went to do stuff online. That way she can pick up a job. So she moved back towards this side. Well, moved back towards Columbus. You know, the day she came back, did my best to go out there and try to go see her, but I had to work. And I had school as well. So I'm like, you know what, we just gonna hang out on the weekend. I'll have my mom drop me off over there or whatever. So through those times, you know, it was cool. Like, hopefully, I hope to this day we're still cool. Truthfully, it's just they got back together, and I don't know why he didn't like me. It's just like, my thing is this: you the one who broke up with your girl. I was just there just to help because I was considered her best friend at that time. That's my job. That's what I'm supposed to do as the best friend, is to comfort my friend in a certain time of need. You know, if they're down, that's the definition of what a best friend is supposed to do. That's just the basic definition of what a friend's supposed to do, regardless. So I did my job. I did what I was supposed to do, and I understand that some things don't work out always like they're supposed to, or however I wanted it to work out. But, you know, I'm not gonna lie, yeah, I caught feelings and stuff, but it was just like I had to keep them feelings in check because at that time, I knew I was the best friend, and I'm not about to jump no guns or nothing like that. You know, don't jump the gun when you know that, you know, either one, it ain't gonna happen. Two, you know, they just got a relationship, so why would you try to jump the gun? You know, that's completely causing for something unstable and stuff like that. So that's the origin story between me and my best friend. She lives up here. And I have another origin story of my other best friend that lives in North Carolina. And it's technically similar with what's going on, as in how we met. She was like, oh yeah, my boyfriend did this and that. And it was just like, I met her off of Instagram. And she sent me, like, I liked all her pictures and stuff like that. She sent me a DM back. That's when direct messages was first starting on Instagram. And I'm like, okay, I promise, I sworn that I knew who she was, but at the time, but I didn't. So probably from the first time we talked was in January the 6th. You know, we known each other for like a year and 3/4 now, pretty much. So every year, well, every January the 6th, you know, I'll be like, you know, happy anniversary, best friend. Simple. She lives in North Carolina. At the time, her boyfriend was a senior, I believe, and she was a sophomore. And she was just like, I don't know why he think I'm stupid. And I'm like, it's obvious. And she was like, what is it? And I'm like, he thinks that you're naive just because you're young, but he doesn't know that you know already what he's trying to pull on you. So she was just like, I'm done with him and stuff like that. But it's just like, this is something that I've seen to see happen repeatedly over and over and over again with anybody in a certain relationship when pretty much when the opposite spouse pretty much would usually either mentally abuse them in some way or, you know, cheat on them or something like that. They would say what they done, but then they always either wind up wanting them back or getting back with them regardless. And it's just like, if you're gonna say you're done with somebody, make sure make sure you expel all those feelings out and stuff like that. Because, you know, they could have just been like, hey, I'm not happy with something. Can we try to see if we can fix it? And if not, I'm gonna have to go. Simple like that. But people don't want to do that because one, society, and when I used to say society, I say TV. Pretty much stuff that is being allowed on TV. If you see anything on TV, you know, like pretty much the stereotype of a jock. Oh yeah, he has accused a girl from school, but he still goes around messing with other girls. Jock's 9 times out of 10 a guy. So that's what that is. But the jock's girlfriend is out messing with other dudes. Everybody shuns her for that. 9 times out of 10, the other person is a female. So society portrays that, you know, oh yeah, if you're a dude, you got a lot of girls, good job. If you're a girl, you got a lot of dudes, shame on you. And it's just like, that's something that can't be done, truthfully. So it's just like, I probably say the biggest problem that I've seen with stuff like that is self-respect. You know, you gotta have your self-respect in check before, you know, you try to put your trust in somebody else. Because knowing that if you get cheated on and stuff, you're gonna be salty because it's just like you invested all your time in that person just for them to be like, just for them to go behind your back to go talk to somebody else that they probably haven't even known or met or anything like that. And it's just like, you know, the whole term of F-boy and stuff like that. Like, oh yeah, you know, he doing this and that. And then the whole term for girls starts with an S. I'm going to try to be user-friendly because of, you know, YouTube and stuff like that. But it's just like, you can't disrespect somebody else because some people don't understand why those people have changed like that. You know, I have that in my book and stuff like that I have written out. I'm going to try to keep this origin kind of short, piece it up, and stuff like that, because it's getting like 20 minutes and it's a long video. So that's pretty much the only reason why I started to do this, because past experiences, things going around with my friends and stuff like that, everybody coming towards me, asking me for, like, you know, relationship advice. So I'm like, I had to get more street smart, because with this stuff like this for like children and stuff, and only reason why I say children is because, you know, I'm older than most of them, and, you know, I consider knowing my family, my little brothers and sisters and stuff like that, helping them out because they come to me, you know, till I'm, you know, kind of like a big brother to everybody. So pretty much that's what it is, and that is the origin of why I started doing this. So probably the rest of these videos is probably going to be under the playlist of origins. So yeah, that's the main reason why I started, and I'm going to keep going. Put down in the comment section of what you want me to talk about next in terms of relationships and stuff, and I'll probably make another playlist of, like, just, you know, random, like, probably like 5-minute topics of what I have in my book, discussions and what I have. You know, follow me on Instagram at Moses_Ka with 2 U's and 2 H's, and follow me on Twitter, the True Gamer 1, because I'm the only one who plays games right.